Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Monday, December 6th. We're going to take a look at SoFi. So SoFi having a nice day today, up almost 3.5%. But that said, we had a really rough end of the week last week, down over 7.5% on Friday, 4.7%, 6.67%. So, I mean, bigger red days than today's green day, that's for sure. And I noticed that the volume that's accumulated so far today, this will be higher by the time all is said and done, but a little under 34 million. Now the big red day on Friday had over 64 million, and then we had a small green day that was 27 million, big red day 34.6, big red day 67 million, little red day comparatively 23.3 million. So this is just to say, we're definitely getting still excessive volume on the red days. So I'm, of course, always wanting to feel optimistic with SoFi, and but I would also say that just judging sort of the volume, weighing that into the equation, today's green day, I'm going to take with a pretty big grain of salt for the time being. The other sort of like bullish sentiment to that I would say, if you look at my cursor down here, I know it's a little like annoying to look at, but this is the most recent best green day, right? 27 million. And then this one was tiny, smaller and smaller, and these were smaller as well. So we get to days, and this is more in line with like this solid green day, which was, on the uptick here in early November. And so I am like, my cautious optimism here is that, we wicked out at a relatively, everything is a little bit of a zone. It's not an exact penny. Possibly, potentially, potentially a little double bottom there. I don't know. Time will tell. I mean, you could have said that here too, right? And then it just really turned back against us really quickly. But so while today's buy volume was significantly less than the recent sell volume, it is greater buy volume than we have seen in a bit over a month. So, like I said in last week's videos, everything is just data points and trying to construct some sort of a pattern or some sort of a narrative to try to make trades against or into, or make intelligent decisions. But none of these things are in and of themselves like crystal balls. So please keep that in mind. When we have like these big run-ups, everyone gets very excited and the trolls go away. When we have these big drawdowns, all of the trolls show up again. And try to skewer you forever thinking bullishly on something. Setting that all aside, I would just say, even folks who aren't being trolls and do have good intentions, you really, really, really got to keep in mind, nobody has a crystal ball. We're all reading the tea leaves, trying to decipher the charts. Some folks are hyper fixated on news and catalysts and stuff, and they're trying to decipher those things and what impact they could have. But everything is to some degree an educated guess, and the degrees are, how educated you are in those guesses, of course. So I have very slight cautious optimism with today. I really think like this week will probably be telling as we string, the next 4 candles together here on the daily. Do we need to come down and press that 1402 to see if there's support there? Are we able to flip this 1557 and get some support there? Are we just going to consolidate along this line? Where's the volume going to go? That's my big thing at the moment. There's been previous weeks and months in the past where I've been screaming about needing more volume and stuff like that. At this point, I'm just sort of most interested in where's the big volume coming in. Is the big volume coming in on red days, which is what we've seen lately, or could today possibly be an indication that there's the opportunity to turn a corner and have some buy volume pick up in the coming days? We'll see. I don't know, but this is just to say that's what I'm looking at. That's not to say this is what I know is going to happen. Now checking in on these EMAs and MAs, everything is still in a bearish formation as you would expect. The MACD actually hasn't slowed down that much, right? It's still keeping pretty solid real estate between the MACD and the signal line. Bearish momentum still really, really strong there. And RSI just getting a slight bounce. Oh, I don't know what this. Okay, getting a slight bounce out of oversold territory today with the green days. So we'll see if there's any more juice in that or not. The other thing, the Ichimoku cloud, I think we had touched on this maybe on Friday, maybe on Thursday, but pretty thick resistance up here for the time being. And the resistance, even if it were to have like a phenomenal week or something, this resistance is way up in the high 17s, low 18s at the moment. So it has a long way to go before that really even comes into play. So to my mind, because of all of those factors I just talked about, I'm mostly just looking for something to form. Like I talked about last week, I'm waiting for the next formation to take shape. To me, this is just, really erratic, sharp movement still. And it's not really providing us a strong trend line, a strong basing or any range or anything like that. So paying attention to these most close in support and resistance levels and going from there. I mean, the other thing that could be worth keeping an eye on if we wanted to is we want to treat this as one big downtrend, looking for some break of this downtrend. But I don't have to leave this on the chart because this would be easy to put in day after day after day. But being able to see a clear break from this would be helpful. But I'll leave it there for now, and if it just gets really cluttered, then we can always take it off. Now, in the intraday, I was tweeting a bit about this today. My Twitter handle is in my description, or in the description below. And since we're mentioning the description, there's a few ways that you can support the channel if you want to help by sharing stuff or what have you. There's a bunch of different ways down there, affiliate links and Venmo and places, just a reminder like, hey, if you want to share, definitely would appreciate that if that sort of tickles your fancy at all. And I am still working on the subscription service. I'm having second thoughts about Patreon. I have read some things that made me think that there might be a better configuration for what I'm trying to accomplish out there. So I'm trying to ask a bunch of folks questions and get some answers and get this thing set up the right way. So sorry that it's taking longer than I would have liked it to, but I'm trying to, not have a stutter step in here and just be able to hit the ground with the thing that's going to be working. Now that said, I have been treating my Twitter like I will the subscription service. And I put this out today. Oh, I don't want this volume. I put this out today, and that's when I put in like this purple box and stuff like this. But basically, I was putting this out when we were looking at this first rejection off 1557, and then it came down and did a nice job consolidating into a range here, and then it had made another failed attempt, and I was a little concerned that if we didn't get a strong bounce off of this purple zone, which we did, that it was just going to kind of run out of steam and maybe draw down toward the VWAP, which would have put it, in low 15 territory. But it was able to do a really good job and just sort of like bounce a few times off this 1557, a bunch of topping out here. So the next thing that I'm going to look forward to the bullish side is like support at say 1590 would go a long way for the time being, because this is now topped out here like 4 times on the 1 minute chart, and it's a lot to ask buyers to keep buying up the dips after the selling pressure takes over at that level. So my hope is that to the degree to which there's significant selling pressure there, that's somewhat exhausted for the time being, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Just a quick look on some additional data here. Nothing new coming in for SoFi today, still like pretty old flow for my filters anyway. But there were some whale buys today. Of course, these are the biggest options trades. Some decent sizes, but I mean, nothing amazing. Certainly nothing as big as we've seen in the past. That said, of the 10 biggest options trades today, 7 of them coming in bearish. So, but there is also interesting, the extent to which we think things are interesting because they're just really far out of whack. These are both very far in the future and very far out of the money. Well, I guess very far in the money, technically. So $50 put options that somebody bought um, for January 20th of 2023. So, I don't know what that's all about, but there's several of them here, and like it's a like cumulatively pretty big premium amounts. And I think these are all for the same strike, if I'm looking at that correctly. I don't know. Sometimes I don't trust my eyes in these tables after staring at them all day. But I thought that that was pretty interesting that that's so far in the money. Um, yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I mean, there's some wacky stuff that goes on in the flow sometimes, to be honest, that like it doesn't ever seem to play out to anything, and I don't know why it happened. Even if it's sometimes accumulating hundreds of millions of dollars and just seems to evaporate into thin air because everything just expired. But all right. Well, that'll do it for this video. I'm also started to put out tonight at 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. There'll be a second in a series that I'm going to do around like trading psychology and thinking about different things, dealing with losses, dealing with maybe following people's trades and that going against you, dealing with wins. To be honest, dealing with times where you just seem to be making money hand over fist, and just sort of the many different psychological conundrums that traders find themselves in. And I put myself in an ugly room against a plain white wall and just talk about it. I'll try to get tons better at these things in the future. If they go well and people seem to like it, I'll make something that looks palatable to the senses and try to make them a bit nicer and stuff like that. But for now, I'm just trying to get the sentiment out there, the info out there. So look for that tonight. You can see the last one I put out on Friday. That'll be in there. It's something about dealing with losses, dealing with big losses, something like that. But if those are interesting to you, they might be something else to snack on instead of just another ticker analysis. All right, folks, for a Monday, I am very tired, so I'm going to head out. But of course, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.